Hey guys, so we're finally back with a new video. Now, sorry for the late delay, but as you know, there's been a lot of craziness going around the world, especially the hurricane. Now, we're back with an athlete that has no introduction. We're talking about Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, who is hailed from Jamaica and is also renowned as the best world sprinter of all time. She is undoubtedly one of the most dominant athlete of all time. So Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce was born December 27, 1986 in Kingston, Jamaica. Now we also know that she had two brothers, and she and her mom was a vendor who was unlicensed near where she lives. Used to have like a boutique, so she used to sell things to make a living. Now, back in 2007, Shelly-Ann decided to go very serious on her career. She wanted to go for the Olympics to, I guess, honor her mom and to live a better life. Now, she definitely did that and even more. So now, as we know, the person she had coached her at that time was Coach Francis, and he is also renowned to train some of the top sprinters that we've seen before, like Asafo Powell, which was one of the most world record breaker men back in those times. And then Shelly-Ann decided to, train with the guys to gain more speed, and definitely wanted to see that if she could definitely hit the spotlight heading to the Olympics back in 2008. Now we are in 2008 and a little name popped up. Shelly-Ann Fraser has now named Pocket Rocket. She is the new upcoming sprint sensation. She not only ran the finals and ran each of her semifinals, but when she got to the final, she ran a personal best of 10.78 to win the women's 100-meter final at that time in 2008. And then she also had her compatriots also won the medals right behind her. Each of them won a Jamaican sweep at that time, and it was just a beautiful moment for her and her memory as a sprinter. Now, what also separated her at that time was that each person she ended up winning, she ended up moving further closer to her goal. After the 08, she decided to just train a little bit while she was still in school. She still was competing, but she just wanted to get her education because she felt like her education are also something very important to her. She also mentioned that her mom is an inspiration to her because having to be pregnant at an age and really coming back from it. Now, Shelly-Ann also mentioned that the main reason why she definitely wanted to pursue school as well as athletic, it was a way out for her and her family to pursue better things in life, and she owed that to her mom. She sacrificed so many opportunities for her to be here. So even if she had a strict mom, it was better for her own good. So she wanted to honor her while she runs every race at the Olympics. So now that Shelly-Ann is crowned as the Olympic champion back in 2008, we flash forward 4 years from then. We saw that Shelly-Ann Fraser definitely came back with another vengeance after everything. So now we are in London 2012, and we see yet again the same familiar face. For the past few years, Shelly-Ann has made a name for herself and became one of the dominant runners in the upcoming Olympics. and we had one question in mind: how would she do it? How would she defend her title now that she has won the medal? So the Olympic has started, and eventually we started seeing that in January, Shelly-Ann definitely started running back to back, and then she decided to compete also in the 200 meters. So she was not only training for the 100, but she definitely was training for the 200 as well. Now, the longtime rival she had was Carmelita Jeter, and that Carmelita Jeter beat her at the World Championship back in 2011. Now, she won the 2009 World Championship, so it was a bittersweet because she even had like a toe injury, and she wanted to come back because she has lost some of the major race, but she wanted to come back to beat and defend her title. And then we got to the final, which was one of the stackest field in 100 meters. We had Veronica Campbell, Allison Felix, Carmelita Jeter. We had Blessing Akabori. We have Tiana Madison. Everybody lined up, and by 100th of a second, Shelly-Ann Fraser beats Carmelita Jeter and Veronica Campbell to win the gold, and thus making her a double Olympic champion in London as well as the Beijing Games. She is some of the few athletes to do that. Usain Bolt also. So on the women's side, she was considering herself, and other people consider her as the Usain Bolt at that time, because not only she defended her titles 4 years from then, she did it again in London. Now, not only she celebrated with that, she even contributed at that time in London 2012 to beat the Jamaicans trial. She also helped contributed the 4x1 for the women's in the London game. She came in second behind the American team to win the silver medal. Not only that, she also ran the 200 meters and winning second place behind Allison Felix at that time, who won the gold medal. Now, flash forwarding now, she was so excited that not only she won silver, but 2 silvers and 1 gold. You know, defending her 100 meters title, as well as coming very close to second, which she did, to the 4x1 and the 200. But the Americans broke the world record at that time, so it was a sweet sensation for Shelly-Ann to not only came back 4 years again to win the 100, and then go to the 200 to win second, and then come right after the US 4x1 that to break the 4x1 record. Now we flash forward to a little bit of the Moscow Games, which is 1 year later after the London Games, and already we had the build up already from the London to the Moscow World Championship. Now there are some few people that ever did the double, which is 100 and 200 double. Only Usain Bolt and other few athletes are able to do that. But Shelly-Ann managed to do that. She won gold with a 10.71 and a 22.17 to win the double. Therefore, Shelly-Ann was already upset Allison Felix to win the gold, because, you know, this was the first time Allison was injured, and then it took Shelly-Ann to win the double, beating Ahure as well as Blessing to win the 100 meter and the 200 meter, and therefore she is some of the few people just able to defend her not only the 200 and the 100. So she did the double, which she won gold at the 2013 World Championship. She won in a sensational time, and then came back and ran the 4x1 for the women's 100 4x1, and she won with a sensational time. They almost got to the record, but it was a 41.02, and that for she even mentioned that, you know, her focus was to almost, you know, get to the record, but maybe next time, she said. And therefore she celebrated with Carmelita as well as the other athletes to win the world championship. Now we even flash forward to 2015. She came back. She definitely had another focus on her, at least I think her second world championship, and this was, I think, her third world championship. She definitely came back and she won to defend her. So now she ended up becoming a 3-time world champion. Now we are in the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, and already the build-up was coming up. We had Shelly-Ann Fraser with a new look, new style, coming in to definitely upset the rest of the crowd. Back in 2016 at the Jamaican trial, she came very close to the breaking point. You know, she said that, you know, it was not only fatigue, but she had a different mind focus when she was coming in, and she still had like a bit of an injury. So the fact that she's still able to make the trials and still came in was just incredible. She not only ran through the rounds, but once she started getting closer, her biggest competitor was another fellow Jamaican athlete, which might be talking about in the next video after Shelly-Ann. Definitely this was her focus. So if Shelly-Ann would have won the Rio 2016, she would have been a 3-time Olympic medalist at the 100, which never happened before. But the only person that was standing in her way was Elaine Thompson. So Elaine Thompson and Shelly-Ann used to train together. So the fact that she was a bit happier that, you know, it was another Jamaican athlete who has beaten her to win the medal. And the fact that she said that 2016 was probably her most year that she cherished, because she had an injury and she still made it to the finals to win third. But one of the American athletes were able to upset her to win second, and then they came to the 4x1 and definitely came in second yet again. Shelly-Ann said that, you know, throughout the years she's just happy that she's able to just keep continuing the same thing that she used to do in the past, you know, even if she's going up in age. At that time, she definitely gave the women's 4x1 leg a humongous lead, but the only person that was standing in the way was the American team, who first got disqualified but came back to win the 4x1. And that way they were able to celebrate, you know, side by side for the biggest accomplishment to Jamaica. And that, you know, she couldn't wait to see what happened, you know, in the future. So she decided to just, you know, after winning 3 consecutive Olympics and, you know, winning world championship, now she was up to 3 world championship that she has won. You know, no one has ever won 3 or more world championship back to back. So it goes to show her dominancy at the Olympics as well as the world championship. So when you look at Jamaican royalty, you definitely could see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Veronica Campbell-Brown, Asafa Powell's name up there, as well as the great Usain Bolt himself. Now we flash forward as the Rio 2016 ends. Shelly-Ann decided to just rest, and as well as she decided to just, you know, stay out for a minute and decided to start a family. And that way Jason Pryace was her husband, so they got married. So they decided to back in 2012. So they decided to, have a baby, and therefore she just relaxed. She didn't go to the World Championship in 2017 because she got pregnant. She gave birth, and therefore Elaine Thompson won the 100 meters, she said, and she gave birth the next day. Now, flash forward 2 years from now, we are in Doha 2019, and definitely we saw that Shelly-Ann was back, and she was already back on her feet with the main focus on her mind to win the 100 meters in Doha. Now, coming into the thing, we had the double Olympic champion, as well as the double Olympic champion in the 100 and the 200, Elaine Thompson, who still had like a leg injury, but Shelly-Ann was the main focus to had. So coming to the rounds, the semifinals, she ran a 10.81, which is still the fastest time for a semifinal ever. And then when we got to the final, she ran away from everyone else already 3 or 4 steps in. She ran with a sensational time of 10.70 or 10.71, beating everybody in the field, including Dina Asher-Smith, Talou, as well as Elaine Thompson herself. Now, that time puts her with 4 world championships in, making her the most decorative world championship woman 100 meters in history. No woman has ever won 4 world championships back to back, but Shelly-Ann is the only person who was able to do that with sheer will and power. And now that she was so happy to came back, she even brought up her son Zion to see how to accomplishment as well as hard work looks like. From coming back from childbirth to bounce right back to the world of athletics is a big deal. She said, at first she said that, people thought that, just because she had a baby that she was just done. She was like, no, she just had a baby, and nothing's gonna stop her to come back to definitely defend her title as well as get that championship. So not only she did that, she did it with a sensational style. She also came back a couple of days later to help the women's 4x1 team win the 4x1 100 meters in Doha. And she just said that, this was some of her biggest accomplishments because, as she was looking back in 2017, she didn't compete. She just definitely wanted to, cherish that and show that people could still do things at her age and still go even further, So these was the medalists for the Doha 2019. And one of the legends mentioned, Michael Johnson, said that, we could definitely now say Shelly-Ann is the greatest of all time. He said that we need to put things in perspective, that her career, she is a 2-time Olympic champion. Only 2 other women has ever done that, and 4 world championship titles, which is the most difficult event. So respect on the champion. So he even said she is the undisputed GOAT, Michael Johnson said. Now we flash forward to 2020 due to the fact that the pandemic happened. So Shelly-Ann ran some few races, but it wasn't too much due to the pandemic. So some of the athletes were training, but they had to relax after that. And then we flash forward to 2021 as the build-up has started, because now that the Olympics was back on, Shelly-Ann was definitely her focus to come back to the trials and definitely started becoming the face and the favorite. So on one of the days of June or July, Shelly-Ann came back with one of the race, I think it was a a Sussex or a Jamaican Diamond League or something that was being held in Jamaica. Shelly-Ann ran a sensational time of 10.63, which was riding down to 10.63. She was now considered as the second fastest athlete of all time. Not only that, she did it so quickly, she didn't even have time to celebrate throughout the line. So a 10.63 was the fastest time for a 33-year-old. She was so enlightened and happy. She said that this was going to be her dream, to run at least a 10.4 before she retires, or even a sub 10. She want to go higher. So we now get focused to the 2020 Olympic Games, and the only person that was standing in her way now was Elaine Thompson-Herah. And as the trials came down to the Jamaican child, we definitely saw that Shelly-Ann was the dangerous person on the field, as well as the person to watch. You know, coming in, she had the fastest time ever by an athlete before anybody else started running even faster when they got to the Olympics. But Shelly-Ann ran through her round with a 10.80 at the Olympic trials, and then once she got to versus Elaine Thompson, she came with a 10.74. But Elaine Thompson was the only person in her way to beat her, which she did with a sensational time of 10.61, beating Florence Griffith Joyner's Olympic record. But Shelly-Ann didn't let that disappoint her a bit. She went second place behind Elaine Thompson, and making her the most decorative athlete behind some few athletes, especially constitutive dominance. Now she also won gold in the 4x1, and then she didn't place anything in the 200, but she did run a 21.94, but she got upset by Gabby Douglas. And again, 15 years ago, this was another sweep. This was a replica of the 2008 Beijing game. It was a complete Jamaican sweep. This is the second time this happens. So with 4 consecutive Olympics years in, she is eyeing herself. You know, she tweeted that she wanted to go for the Paris Olympic Games, which she would be 37 at that time. So she would be 37, but you know, age is just a number. If your body is healthy to be able to move, she's gonna continue to run until she decided to not run. Like I said, if she goes for another Olympic, she would tie herself with at least Allyson Felix probably, or even Carl Lewis for the most medals of all time. Now she is also ran another meet after the Olympics, so she's been so consistent that even after the Tokyo Games, she came back at one of the Diamond Leagues in Louisiana Diamond League or Prefontaine. She ran another time. Elaine Thompson ran a 10.54, and then Shelly-Ann came back in response to that with a legendary 10.60. She and Elaine Thompson are some of the few athletes to not compact all top 5 top 10 times of all time, but they're the few people that's been running back-to-back personal best, which now their focus is now to eye the world record, which is a 10.49. If they could beat that time, they will be the joint rulers of the world record, which is her focus. Even Elaine said that, you know, the fact that she ran a 10.54, she is now ready to beat the world record, as well as Shelly-Ann mentioned that as well. So let's just be very honored and happy that she's gonna be continuing this as long as she can. And thank you guys for the video to watch it, and I hope you like the description of her legendary legacy. Like and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.